Kia Home Office 5521, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 22 July 2021. The second part of this presentation, we are doing the control that we must do. We could have yesterday that it seems that we have not authorized access to specific machines, broken protocols of security at the system, replacing instrument as connection and interconnection, and doing clandestine models, I would say, or circuit as communication from your machine. It pointing to distortion at the communication surface as a sector. In the same way, by the routering of the signal traced by the Google, and we could have this having the fresh start of the Wi-Fi and refreshing, updating the page, the web page that is tracing the location as the signal, and it's a different location, it pointing by inference as a multiplicity of signals. We could have that indeed that was happening. In the same way, we could observe that the security of the bank presented the browser as Chrome, but the browser at the screen, as we could observe, was the Microsoft Edge. Today we had something like this. We shut the doors as users, administration, and guests at our machine. It's impossible and inside the configuration to do not have the association as pairs by other instrument and gadgets. It's impossible to have the remote access, and was reported by the machine an attempt to have the remote access, because indeed we do not authorize this, but we had this despite we do not allow. It's a clandestine access with a lot of distortions on it. The top of the iceberg, local distortion may be at the international scam, point to integration as corruption, transnational organized crime happening in the international area as financial communication and others. We will observe that we cut the doors and have this report, and in the next moment we had a hack instrument which was presenting to assume prerogatives at the windows at your system, and we had a new fresh start of the machine, and now we are kind of have a fresh start. Of course that we do not have the audio and the control instruments, and we must have the download. The Windows offer this, and then we had two things here, as you know, a download as update, which looks like that you have no idea what the hell is this. But this one, I'll call Michael Crop as USB, is something very, that maybe you should consider international authority have this kind of requirement as information, considering maybe the systematical behavior since the test that we ran yesterday, which closed some doors, and now we do not have the possibility to have others as prerogatives or use administration. And then we had this hack instrument that looks like seems or had the use to achieve prerogatives at your machine, and now we are having these two elements here. And you can request this by the white collar crime law in Brazil, considering the fintech risk and maybe scams that you have on our, unfortunately, rotten conjuncture, which integrate others rotten conjuncture, and the association between geopolitical power by misusage and nepotism, doing the use of public resource for exclusively purpose, with clear traces on budget, have the extension and incremental variants of scams to beef up the illicit economical power. Indeed, is a trust scam. We can have this attack of anything by a simple decision based on a corrupted authority that transfer a big money around the globe, financing and support only God knows. And we have, as you know, cross-cut the incremental organization as paramilitary and nuclear activity and weapons of mass destruction and so many other things that maybe we for sure won't be able to have this kind of decision by institutions in Brazil involved in the scam. All Article 74